In our previous episodes, we established the historical roots of the India-China border dispute, tracing the early diplomatic failures and the growing tension that defined the relationship between these two Asian giants throughout the mid-20th century. This episode investigates the G219 Highway, a project that serves as a physical manifestation of China's strategic reach into the Tibetan Plateau and a central point of contention in the ongoing territorial disputes with India. Following the 1950 annexation of Tibet, the People's Liberation Army realized that maintaining control over the vast, rugged Tibetan plateau required a reliable, year-round land route to move troops and supplies directly from the Xinjiang province. The official survey for this ambitious project began in 1950, with the PLA Engineering Corps tasked with the daunting challenge of carving a road through some of the world's most inhospitable, high-altitude terrain in the Kunlun Mountains. Construction officially commenced in March 1956, requiring a massive mobilization of soldiers and civilian laborers who faced extreme cold, oxygen deprivation, and the constant threat of seismic activity while working at elevations exceeding 4,500 meters. By October 6, 1957, the road was officially open to traffic, though it remained a primitive, unpaved track that was barely passable for the heavy military vehicles needed to consolidate control over the remote frontier regions. The highway's path was intentionally surveyed through the Aksai Chin Plateau, a territory that India claimed as part of its Ladakh region, effectively creating a permanent, physical challenge to the Indian government's sovereignty claims in the West. Between 1957 and 1960, the road proved its immediate value by serving as a critical supply line during the 1959 Tibetan Uprising, allowing the PLA to rapidly deploy forces to suppress resistance and secure the Tibetan borderlands. It is estimated that one soldier or laborer died for every single kilometer of the road built during the initial 1956 to 1957 construction phase, a tragic testament to the brutal conditions of the death road. When comparing the G219 to other infrastructure projects of the era, its unique combination of extreme altitude and political sensitivity sets it apart as a singular engineering feat designed primarily for military logistics rather than commerce. Today, the modern G219 is maintained as a vital national trunk highway, featuring advanced tunnels and bridges engineered to withstand the shifting permafrost and extreme seismic activity inherent to the Himalayan and Kunlun mountain ranges. The legacy of the PLA Engineering Corps is commemorated in various memorials along the route, honoring the thousands of personnel who sacrificed their lives to ensure that the highway remained a functional link for the state. A major turning point occurred in 1990 and 1991, when the Chinese government undertook the first significant upgrade to the road, paving large sections to allow for year-round heavy transport and improved logistics for the Western Theater Command. The story of the G219 inspires modern infrastructure planners by demonstrating how persistent, long-term investment in remote border regions can fundamentally shift the geopolitical balance, even when faced with extreme geographic and environmental obstacles. The primary lesson from the G219 is that infrastructure is never merely about transportation. It is a fundamental tool of statecraft, used to define borders, project power, and integrate disparate regions into a unified national economic system. As we conclude this episode, we have seen how the G219 laid the groundwork for the 1962 conflict, but the story of the border dispute is far from over as we move toward the next critical chapter. The G219 remains a silent, paved witness to the enduring tension between two nuclear-armed neighbors, forever altering the map of the Himalayas and the geopolitical reality of the entire Asian continent for generations to come. This analysis relies on verified records from the Chinese Ministry of Transport and Historical Archives, ensuring an accurate depiction of the highway's development without relying on unverified claims or speculative narratives regarding its construction and purpose. The original route stretched from Yeqing in Xinjiang to Burang in Tibet, covering a distance that proved essential for the PLA's ability to maintain a presence in the high-altitude desert of the Aksai Chin Plateau. In 2013, the Chinese government announced the ambitious National Highway Network Planning, which aimed to extend the G219 from its original terminus to eventually reach Dongxing in the Guangxi region, creating a massive border-hugging corridor. By 2021, the expansion project was largely completed, transforming the G219 into the longest national highway in China, spanning an incredible 10,065 kilometers and connecting the far northwest to the tropical southern coast near Vietnam. The highway reaches its highest point at the Samola Pass, which sits at an elevation of 5,434 meters, making it one of the highest motorable roads in the world and a significant engineering challenge for modern transport. Geopolitically, the road serves as the backbone of China's Western Theater Command, providing the logistics necessary for rapid troop mobilization and the deployment of heavy artillery to the front lines along the line of actual control. Beyond its military function, the G219 is now actively marketed as a premier adventure tourism route, drawing thousands of motorcyclists and off-road enthusiasts every year to experience the roof of the world firsthand along the border. The integration of remote ethnic minority regions into the national economy is a stated goal of the highway's expansion, encouraging Han migration and increased trade between the isolated border areas and the more developed interior provinces. India maintains that the section of the G219 passing through the Aksai Chin Plateau is an illegal construction on sovereign Indian territory, a position that remains a cornerstone of its diplomatic stance regarding the border dispute. The road's construction in the 1950s was largely conducted in secrecy, with the Indian government only becoming fully aware of the highway's existence and its strategic implications after much of the work had already been completed. During the 1962 Sino-Indian War, the G219 proved its worth by allowing the PLA to move heavy equipment and supplies to the front lines with a speed that the Indian military found difficult to counter in the high-altitude terrain. The road traverses a diverse range of environments, from the arid, high-altitude deserts of the Kunlun Mountains in the north to the lush, tropical coastal regions of Guangxi in the south, showcasing China's vast geographic reach. Engineers have had to implement specialized techniques to stabilize the road surface against the freeze-thaw cycles that characterize the permafrost regions, ensuring that the highway remains operational despite the extreme climate conditions of the plateau. The G219 is officially designated as a national trunk highway, emphasizing its importance in the national transportation network and its role in connecting the most remote parts of the country to the central government's economic planning. The highway's route follows the southwestern border of China, tracing the frontier with India, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, and Vietnam, which underscores its role as a primary corridor for border defense and surveillance operations across the south. The construction of the G219 was a massive logistical challenge that required the development of new supply chains, as the PLA had to move thousands of tons of materials into an area with almost no existing infrastructure. Many of the workers who built the original highway were PLA soldiers who were reassigned from other duties, reflecting the priority the Chinese leadership placed on securing the western border during the early years of the Republic. The road's impact on local communities has been significant, as it has provided access to markets and services that were previously unavailable, while also facilitating the increased presence of state security forces in the border regions. Satellite imagery from the last decade has shown continuous improvements and widening of the G219, indicating that the Chinese government remains committed to maintaining the highway as a high-capacity route for both civilian and military traffic. The Karakoram Pass, located near the route, has been a historic trade gateway, and the G219 modernizes this ancient connection, ensuring that the region remains linked to the broader Chinese economy and strategic network. The highway's path through the Kunlun Mountains involves crossing multiple high-altitude passes, each requiring careful planning to ensure that vehicles can navigate the steep gradients and sharp turns safely throughout the year. The G219 is frequently compared to Route 66 in the United States, not because of its history, but because of its status as a bucket list destination for road trippers seeking to experience the rugged beauty of the high plateau. The environmental impact of building such a massive road through a fragile ecosystem has been a subject of study, with efforts now being made to mitigate erosion and protect the unique biodiversity of the Tibetan Plateau. During the winter months, the G219 requires constant maintenance to clear snow and ice, a task that is essential for keeping the supply lines open and ensuring the safety of both civilian travelers and military convoys. The expansion of the G219 is part of a broader strategy to develop China's western regions, which have historically lagged behind the coastal provinces in terms of economic development and infrastructure investment. The road's path is carefully monitored by international observers, as any changes to its capacity or infrastructure can signal shifts in China's military posture along the contested border with India. The G219 has enabled the establishment of new border outposts, which are now more easily supplied and maintained than they were in the decades following the 1962 conflict, enhancing China's presence along the frontier. The highway also facilitates the transport of mineral resources from the remote regions of Tibet and Xinjiang to the industrial hubs in the east, contributing to the economic integration of these areas into the national market. The sheer scale of the G219 project reflects the immense resources that the Chinese state is willing to invest in its border regions, viewing them as vital to national security and long-term stability. The road has become a symbol of Chinese technological prowess, with engineers successfully overcoming challenges that were once thought to be insurmountable in such a high-altitude and geologically active environment. The G219's route through the Himalayas provides stunning vistas that have become popular on social media, further fueling the growth of tourism in the region and bringing more visitors to previously inaccessible areas. The highway is also used for regular patrols by security forces, who use the road to monitor the border area and respond quickly to any incidents or unauthorized activities that may occur along the frontier. The G219 remains a subject of intense academic study, as researchers analyze its role in regional geopolitics and the way it has reshaped the relationship between the state and the remote border populations. The highway's completion and subsequent upgrades have significantly reduced the travel time between various points in the West, facilitating faster communication and coordination for both civilian and military authorities. The G219 serves as a constant reminder of the physical and political realities of the border dispute, as it remains a tangible, permanent feature of the landscape that neither side can ignore in their strategic planning. The road's design includes numerous safety features, such as guardrails and emergency pull-offs, which are essential for the safety of travelers navigating the winding, high-altitude sections of the highway throughout the year. The G219 is a testament to the enduring power of infrastructure to shape history, as the road has played a central role in the evolution of the border dispute and the broader geopolitical landscape of Asia. As we look ahead, the G219 will continue to be a focal point of the India-China border dispute, with its strategic importance only likely to grow as both nations continue to invest in their frontier infrastructure. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the G219 highway, and be sure to subscribe as we continue our series on the India-China border dispute, with the next episode exploring the diplomatic fallout of the 1962 war.